Oh, hi. Can see you there. Well, today we're going to have a look at putting some snapping backgrounds in. This one's going to be fairly straightforward. What we're going to do is show how, if you have a look at the previous episode, episode 7, I actually did a little bit of this already with static episodes, but if you found this one, I'm going to try and get a bit more straight to the point. Yeah, like that's going to happen. Cool. Well, I'm going to get out of the way and let's have a look at one of our Wookie scenes. So here's our Wookie, and he's dancing around. Cool, but he's on a black background. It's pretty boring. So let's try and get a background in. Now, I'm going to delete these so I can load them back up. I just loaded them up from the previous ones. So if I do a file import, I've actually got a background image. And I've got 2 here. I'm actually going to load them both up. And I'll show you how we can use them. So if I drag A down into the same timeline, if I put it in front of the Wookie, bang, you can't see a thing. But I'm just going to scale this out a little bit. So I'm just grabbing the scale, I'm just holding it down with a click, drag it up and down, and it resizes it. But because it's in front of the Wookie, I can't see the Wookie. So I just drag it, I've just click to select and drag it down, and now the Wookie's in front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this Wookie so his legs are a little bit lower on the ground. Looks like he's a bit more in the scene. I could change the Y position up a little bit. You're just trying to get it right. And so, okay. It's as simple as that to drop one in, and you can just click on it. It's just loaded as a puppet. Everything's a puppet. There's only 3 types of objects, 4 actually when I think about it. There are puppets, which is anything with an image. Now I haven't rigged any arms or legs or anything like that, but it's still a puppet because it's got some artwork. And then we've got scenes, which you drop puppets and characters into. That's what's going on down here. You've also got audio clips. We haven't done any audio clips yet, but you can load them up here and drop them onto the timeline as well. And you've got folders, which is this thing. So you can actually organize your files a bit more. So I could create a folder and call it backgrounds if I wanted to, and I could drag them into the backgrounds folder just to try and keep things a little bit more organized. This is actually quite useful if you get a big project because you can just go like that and hide them. My project's not very big yet, so it doesn't really matter. So what's this masked one layer then? Well, if I double click to go into rigging, you'll discover what it is. It's the same artwork, but I've used Photoshop to basically remove all the background. And so all the background's gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to walk behind these desks and then make him come out in front of them. And actually I want to get him around walking, starting to go in front of this as well, which is just going a little bit more above the average. Normally you don't need this. Normally you just drop it in the background, but I just made such a short episode. I thought that was a bit boring. So, okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to drag this mask. And you could do the same sort of idea of masking for furniture. If he's meant to be behind a desk or a seat, then you can have that a separate piece of artwork for the furniture and just drop it in front. So I'm going to drop it in front. Now, the trick is I've changed the position Y and scale, -36 and 64. And so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say position is -36 and 64. And the idea is I'm clicking this little eyeball on and off, and it's all lined up perfectly now. But you see when the desk is visible, the Wookie is partly hidden behind. So I'm going to move this Wookie now. I'm going to change his position X. I'm going to make him a bit smaller. He looks too big for this particular scene. Change his Y a little bit. Now you might be wondering, why is there position X and anchor point X and Y? The main difference is if one's with scale and one's done after scale, and it gives you two ways. It's actually quite useful having two sets when you're doing recording. So I'm cheating a little bit there. I'm probably going to get rid of that position X, and I should have just done it with anchor X. Okay, so standing behind it. So what I want to get him to do is to come around and then go in front of it. And you're sort of saying, well, how could he do that? And it's a bit of a trick to it, to be completely honest. So we're going to go here, and I'm going to get rid of all these draggers and everything. And what I'm going to do is make him move out sideways. So I'm going to arm position X and position Y, because what I want him to do is to come out here sideways. And let's move him down a little bit at the same time. And he's going to arm the scale as well. Oh, darn it. When you start arming these different things, it loses the values, which is a bit of a bummer. Stand him up a little bit higher. Okay. I'm going to arm. I'm going to move him out from behind the table. I'm going to move him down a little bit. And when he's getting close to the camera, he's going to look a little bit bigger. So we're just going to get the X across a little bit. And then I'm going to do a recording. Now his arm's a little bit behind, and that's not going to be a problem, as you're going to discover in a moment. At least I hope it's not going to be a problem. Okay, so we've got that, and now I'm going to blend it to the new values. And so he's going to slide out. And if it's a bit more intelligent, I'd probably mask off that other desk. It gives me a thought. How did I set this up? I've got two sets of desks. Was I clever enough? No, I wasn't. I was hoping I put these into a separate layer. Hey, why don't we do that right now? So what we're going to do is no, it's going to take too long. What it's going to do is to chop this out and put it into a separate layer, because then I could hide it, but I'm not going to futz around while I'm doing this live. Okay, come back to the scene. And everything is going fine to about there. And so what I'm going to do, if I turn off the recording, right about there, I'm just going to add a timeline marker. Add marker. Now, you can put these little markers here just to remember exact positions. Because while he's armed, you can't actually see it. But if I disarm it, I can see where I'm up to. So I'm going to disarm it and see he's there. So I'm going to cheat now. What I'm going to do is this mask, because I want him to come down and get in front of that table and this desk here, get closer and closer to the camera. I can just make it go away by hiding it. So the way I can do that is by coming up here, and I'm going to record. If I control click, it toggles everything on and off at once. So I'm going to say I want opacity, and I'm going to set it to 0. And because I've got the arming on, and I'm going to do a record, it's now recording that value of 0. I must have accidentally bumped a button or something. Okay, I'm just going to drag that out. So what's going to happen is he comes out from behind the table, but now his arm is in front of the table, which is what we're after. So around about here, I'm going to start doing another recording and have him move even more further towards the camera, and you'll see him clearly in front of this table. Okay, so we can pick the Wookie. I may change all 3 again, so I've got it all armed. So, I want him in the middle of the corridor. Just get the scale right first. I'm going to make him nice and big. And so now he's clearly in front of the table there and so forth. That's where I want him to end up. So I do a recording of the end values. And then I'm going to grab that front edge and drag. Which you're going to extend that out right up past the end. Okay, so now what we should have is he's behind the table here, and then later on we'll see he's in front of the same table. See, now he's in. Okay, so what's going on there? He's jumped back over here. Well, the reason is these previous takes ended. So right about there, he was in the right spot, but then the blend is using the old value and the new one, so the old one didn't go far enough. So I'm going to go click, click, click. This is going longer than I was planning to, and extend them out as well. And during the blend, that old value is still having some effect while it moves from the old value to the new one. So you've got to overlap them a bit. I didn't need to go all the way out here. I could stop there if I wanted to, because when that blend stops, these values aren't being used anymore. Let's have a look. Dun, 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 dun. Yay, Wookie! See, now he's in front of it, and he's getting bigger, and he's definitely in front of it all. So there's just a little bit of, it's probably a little bit more advanced than you really need for a very first one. The very, very simple thing is you just drop an image in Puppet, and you drop it there, and you scale it, and so forth. You don't need to worry about any of this recordings, or, what am I doing? Oh, I've changed the default values. That's not what I had intended. Okay. We've got these blends, but I didn't have defaults. So let's see. Come up to Wookie, turn things off. And he shouldn't be that big. The scale. That's actually a bit strange. I wasn't expecting that one. I wonder if it's a bug. Anyway, he comes out. Now he's in front of the table and it gets bigger. So you can do tricks like having multiple layers where this one's got transparent sections. So this one, this image that I loaded up as a puppet has got transparent sections. And so he comes through as, it makes him look like he's before. You can put furniture in front of the puppet by putting him higher in the stack. And you can put other stuff in the background if it's behind. Cool. Is there anything else I wanted to say? So that was a sort of a slightly more complicated one, just showing that you can do some fun things, getting things in front of and behind and so forth. Most of the time you just drag it in and drop it. So, okay, one other thing then. If I wanted to have two scenes, one after the other, and you can change the background image in the middle of the scene. I don't know if I've got another back image just lying around. No, I don't have one. Just see if I can find something quickly. No, I don't have another image lying around. I should grab one. But I could change it, load up a different image. I tend to find if you want the puppet to stand still and an image to go away, for example, let's grab the edge here, pull it way back. Oh, that was a mask. Silly me. Grab this one, pull that one way back. Send back out again. You make him come out and so forth. And because I ended the background image, the background disappears. So you could do that, and you could load up another image in the background. Or what I normally prefer to do is to actually, if I come down here and do a control click to turn everything off, click to turn opacity on, and then because it's armed, I'm going to type in a 0. I'm going to start recording. It's recording a 0 value for the take, and then I blend from the current value to 0, and so now I can fade the background to whatever the other background was, which in this case is pretty boring because it was just black. But I could have had a different image. So if you want the puppet to have the background change without the puppet moving, you can do it in one scene. Otherwise, I'd be starting a new scene every time we got a new background, because the puppet's probably going to start at a new position in a new scene. So that was a long way of saying create new scenes when everything changes. But if you need something to hang over, you got to stay within the same scene. It's much easier that way. Okay. It's me. I'm back again. So just hopefully you found that useful. That was so much for doing a short one. I don't seem to be very good at doing short, do I? Oh well. Hopefully you found that useful. Dragging some static backgrounds in, plus using masks so you can have furniture and have the guy running around behind the furniture, which looks kind of cool. Okay, see ya.